You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
They say we offer simple answers to complex problems. But perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple.
It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground.
We have serious problems to solve, and we need serious people to solve them.
Republicans and Democrats.
All right, folks, happy Saturday morning. It is time for Finding Common Ground right here on KLRNradio.com. We are coming to you on Saturday, December 17th, 2016. A little bit later than usual, but not too far off the mark. Mostly my fault. I was recording an episode for the affiliates out in California and took a little bit longer than I thought. And, of course, I've got a message from Bryce late last night that he would not be able to attend this morning, so we have the original Left Chair co-host, Mr. Dave Brown, with us, because he's actually had some time off from the day job recently, so he's been hanging out with us again. Good morning, Mr. Dave. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I've actually been on a temporary assignment at the day job. Sadly, I have about 8 working days left till I have to go back to the other place. The break's been kind of nice. There's been things that I've liked over there. There's been things that I like better where I'm at most of the time. And I don't know. It is what it is. But it's been an interesting experience. I'm dusting off brain cells I haven't really used in about 7-8 years because I'm back to doing the whole networking and troubleshooting and can you get to this web page? Can you do this? Let me remote out to your machine and figure out why it's not working. Fun times.
I was never good with that stuff.
Yeah.
I was never my cup of tea.
It's actually one of the reasons why I wound up where I wound up at Convergys, because they had all the incoming class that I was in take a networking test, and me and one other person in there scored a perfect score, and they're like, we don't usually take people right out of training, but come over here. And I got a raise and a set schedule, so I was like, sweet, I'll take it.
Very nice. Yeah, I remember that was what department was that? That was you dealt with the satellite internet crap, and which it is kind of crap. I mean, it's not the best service in the world. At least it wasn't then. Hopefully, it's better now.
Actually, most people don't even really use satellite anymore because now even in the middle of nowhere, you can get DSL through places like Windstream, which is not still the best service in the world, but I can get 6 megs for about $25 a month, which is not bad, comparatively speaking. Now, it actually, when I started with them, they were called the Broadband Project, and then it morphed into the Network Media Technical Support Team, which is what it closed out as, because it started as the project where we helped with the Wild Blue Internet, but then along the way, DirecTV figured out that we knew how to do a lot of different IT things, so we actually helped them start building and designing their on-demand project, which was fun because they would send us new machines and we would break them and tell them how to put them back together when they broke. And then eventually we were so good at it we put ourselves out of a job, which is usually how it works. But so that's kind of in a nutshell, kind of doing the same thing again, except now I'm working directly with computers instead of networking other types of machines together. But it's been interesting because I don't think a lot of people knew that I could do that type of stuff because they've were like, just reset the passwords, do this, do that, and for anything else, put in a ticket. And the guy that's like the team lead comes over there and I'm like remoting into a machine and say, okay, try this for me and tell me what happens. He's like, I didn't expect you to do that. I showed it to you, but I never expected you to use it. I said, dude, don't show me something if you don't expect me to actually do my job.
It's like, I know you're used to working with dum-dums, but...
Well, no, see, that's just it. These guys have all had the A+ training, the Net Plus training, and they, like, a lot of them that are working there have degrees. So, but he didn't know anything about my technical background other than what was in my resume. So he wasn't expecting me to dive in and start fixing things. He was just like, we just expected you guys to put in tickets and we would fix it later. If I can fix it, I'm going to fix it because I know how.
You go, boy. Impressing people one day at a time there at the old jobby job.
It happens. It happens. All right, so we have taken a collective vote between the two of us and decided today is not going to be a politics day. So we're going to talk about because we used to do this, we used to do this about twice a year. It would usually be like the spring finales and the winter finales. We would take a break from politics, talk about what's impressed us so far for the year, what hasn't impressed us so far for the year, what we're expecting for the upcoming. So we're going to kind of do that. So, so far... and, of course, there's always shows that you watch that I don't. So I'm going to let you take lead and let folks know what your TV watching experiences have been like this year, because you probably watched a little bit more than I have. Not taking a jab. It's just I literally have 5 minutes here and there to watch a little TV.
Yeah, no, I did not take that as a jab. You are a busy, busy man. So yeah, this year I watched the 4 superhero shows on CW. Here are the things I watch religiously. Those 4 shows, Lucifer, and with my daughter, I watch Blackish and New Girl. and then kind of Gotham. I got real far behind on Gotham and ended up there were a couple episodes I just missed, but because Hulu will only keep the latest 5, so there were a couple I missed, and I just picked up whatever the oldest one that it was that I could start watching. I started watching it, and the previously on got me caught up enough so where I knew what was going on. And of those shows, I think I really am enjoying the CW stuff the most, though I love Lucifer. I think that is a fantastic show. The stuff on the CW, all of them are really, really good this season. If I was going to rank them, which is really hard because it's almost like you've got 3 shows tied for number 1 and then number 2. And the 3 shows tied for 1 are Supergirl, Flash, and Arrow, with Flash just basically being 1A, Supergirl being 1B, and Arrow being 1C, and then number 2 is Legends of Tomorrow. I like Legends of Tomorrow, don't get me wrong, and the crossover episode, the finale crossover episode, I thought was fantastic, partially because it was mostly just an Arrow Flash crossover. It was a whole bunch of Barry and Oliver stuff going on. But there are things in Legends that really bug me, like the fact that they refer to themselves as Legends. Why do you call your team that? That is so stupid. Are you that egotistical to think you guys are legends? No, it just makes my skin crawl. Just during the little intro, I get douche chills. I'm like, oh, guys, stop that, please. Because it's a bad name for the show. It's a bad name for their team. I'd rather it be called Time Masters or something, just something else. Because I know there's not a direct correlation team in the comics other than the comic that they've made that's basically about this show. But this is not a team of people that were ever together in the comics before. I mean, hell, their captain, Sarah Lance, isn't even from the comics. So she was a creation of the show Arrow. But I've enjoyed all of the shows. The season finale or the mid-season finales, I thought for all of them were really good. Especially Arrow. Arrow had the best cliffhanger moment of spoilers. By the way, spoilers. Laurel Lance showing up saying, "Hi, Ollie," and it's like, wait, what? You dead? But maybe she's not dead thanks to Flashpoint. Who knows? I guess we'll find out. But so yeah, I just recently watched the Gotham finale, and poor Jim Gordon, man. That guy can't win for losing. The woman that he loves is about to get murdered by her husband because he's got this crazy virus, and he literally has a knife that he's about to stab in her back, and Jim shows up, shoots him. By the time she turns around to look, the guy has fallen over, his crazy face from the virus he has is gone, and the knife fell into the ocean. And then plus, he did promise Don Falcone, I won't kill him. So it's like, why didn't you shoot him in the leg or in the nuts or something? And no, you went for the kill shot, which I know that's training. I've never been in that situation. I'm sure training just kicks in and you go for what you've been, you've done 1,000 times. But yeah, that's been my viewing habits. This season, I did stop watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I couldn't keep up with it. Plus, I'm not really a fan of Ghost. Do I? It's actually good?
Yeah, I've actually I kind of like the Ghost Rider thing, so it's been enjoyable for me. But then again, I am coming at this from a different perspective as you, because I never really got into comics as a kid because I always had to wear these really big, thick glasses that made reading uncomfortable. So, and the comic book print, no matter how big my glasses were, still seemed really, really small. And for some reason, when I was younger, it confused the hell out of me the way they did graphic novels, because I could read a book and it would make perfect sense. It was right to left, top to bottom. Graphic novels, not so much, because it was like, okay, which bubble do I go to next? And I don't know why that always confused me, but even now, I'm not big into comics. I get most of my comic exposure from watching TV shows and movies. I always have. Nicolas Cage has always kind of been a guilty pleasure of mine. Yes, I know 99.9% of his movies suck, but I still like the guy. I don't know why.
Well, he's a character, but no, comics even, I read comics every day, and there are times that I'm looking at something, I'm like, wait, which panel do I go to next? It can be a challenge sometimes, so you're not alone on that. But besides that, I decided to not watch Vampire Diaries and Supernatural, specifically because I knew that at the end of the season, at 2 weeks after they were over, the entire season would be available on Hulu or on Netflix, and I could watch it there. And because CW pulled all of their shows from Hulu, it has been a royal pain in the butt keeping up with the 4 shows I feel like I have to watch because I love them. And so I'm like, okay, I can put this off. This will give me summer viewing. So that is fine. But how about you? What have you been watching?
CW has an app. That's why they pulled all their stuff from Hulu.
Yeah, but they run a shitload of commercials, man. A lot. and I can't get that on my TV. So that app is not available on my Blu-ray player, which is what I can use for Hulu and Netflix, and I just don't bother on my computer. So I have other means.
See, I just have my computer networked to my TV, so anytime I want to watch something, I can actually just kind of throw it over to the TV, and it's like, hey, we have a 52-inch screen, yay! But then again, that's my tech nerdy side coming out again. So because I always figure out creative ways to solve problems, and it's just like, hey, because half the time, like when Supergirl moved, I kept forgetting to start recording it, so I started out like 3 or 4 episodes behind because I have Dish Network, so I have Primetime Anytime. So basically, there is a tuner that is specifically scanning all 4 primetime channels constantly. Like even when it's not recording, it's always on. And then it turns it on during primetime, and that one tuner records everything from those 4 networks. So that's what made Supergirl so nice when it was on CBS, because it was an always catch. It didn't matter. It grabbed it for me. And then I was like, and then it started. I'm like, oh, I keep forgetting it's on CW now. I'm gonna go set that up to record. Oh wait, I have an interview in 5 minutes. I guess I should go prep for that instead. And then I'd go back and I'd sit down and be like, I should probably get that set up now. Oh, but wait, this show's on, and I actually have a few minutes to sit down and watch it. So let's do that instead. So then it'd be Tuesday. I'd be like, damn it, I forgot again. So what actually encouraged me to finally go back and start setting it up to record was when they started talking about the crossover. And I'm like, ooh, crossovers. I don't know what it is about crossovers. I like when shows that encompass the same general universe and timelines actually kind of start crossing over with each other. It's always been an entertaining kind of thing for me. I even, on standalone shows like Star Trek, when they started doing the whole interdimensional thing, and it was like, like the episode that Worf jumped between like 14, 15 different universes. I've always liked that type of stuff because it was the same but different. And just the crossovers have always intrigued me. Now, back to Arrow, because I have a question about that, because you'd mentioned something that I'd kind of flirted with for a second, but I'm not sure it holds up, because at the end of, and again, spoiler in case you didn't hear Dave the first time, at the end of the episode, Laurel Lance shows up. So my issue with that is, if this was something that was caused by Flashpoint, why doesn't anybody remember that she's alive?
Yeah, exactly.
Because again,
we'll
remember, Diggle didn't know that he used to have a daughter. The only thing he remembers is his son. So if this was something that Barry caused through Flashpoint, then everyone, I mean, obviously Laurel's father probably wouldn't be in an alcoholic stupor right now. And even Sarah at this point wouldn't still be going around wanting to kill what's-his-face, whose name suddenly escapes me, for killing her sister, because even she's returned to the normal timeline by now. And we've also seen the doctor on that show, or the professor on that show, start remembering a daughter that he accidentally helped create. So, I mean, that whole thing doesn't hold up. Now, with all of the interdimensional jumping that's been going on, there could be something interesting happening there. Maybe. Yeah,
I don't know. And you're right. It's probably not Flashpoint. Who knows? Maybe I don't know. I'm just it really makes you wonder. I'm so curious, and jerks are going to make us wait like almost 2 months to find out.
How much you want to bet it turns out to be something to do with all this stuff that Thawne is doing across all the episodes?
That's my other thought is that Reverse Flash did it.
He probably found an Earth where Laurel hates him, and said, "Hey, you're coming with me."
Yeah, I trust that show. I trust everyone on those shows, the creators, the writers, the actors, the whole thing. I'm completely bought in. They have my vote. They have my confidence. I'm all in on all of it. So I'm just looking forward to seeing what they do. I don't know. I really don't. But I enjoy it, and it's kind of nice not knowing, because sometimes you get to the point where you kind of feel like you know what's going to happen, and so being surprised is a really good thing. That's something my co-host Floyd on our wrestling show, Off With Their Heads, or no, that's the name of the band. Let's do a podcast earlier, Around the Ring. Jeez Louise. So yeah, on our show Around the Ring, he talks about a lot of times he likes being surprised with stuff, because he can figure out a lot of storylines, because he's been a long time wrestling fan, and so he loves it when something happens that makes him go, "Oh, well, I didn't see that coming." And so yeah, I certainly didn't see Laurel showing up at the end of that episode.
Yeah, I can honestly say I didn't either, and I'm a lot like that guy, especially, you know, I don't know if it's instinctual or if it's just I have a way of kind of connecting dots. It's like the show that my wife and I watched together, Days of Our Lives. There was something that happened on Friday's episode, and like 10 minutes before it happened, I was like, watch this, because this is exactly what's going to happen. And sure enough, by the end of the episode, my wife's looking at me like, how the did you know that? I said, because it's easy when you start. And part of it is if you watch a show long enough, you start getting a flavor for the writers and the type of twist that they like to throw in. So, and part of it is also instinctual. There are people that no matter how obvious you make it, they can't draw the connections to go, oh, I can obviously see what's about to happen next. So they're always surprised. I'm not one of those people. And I think it's what made me good at my previous work when I was doing security and private investigations, because I was always really good at connecting dots and intuitively going, okay, so since this has happened, this is likely what's going to happen next. I can honestly say that I never in a million years thought that I would see Laurel Lance standing there at the end of the show going, "Hi, Ollie." I'm like, wait a minute. I honestly did not see that coming, and now I'm pissed off that it's going to take 2 months for me to find out what's going on. Thank you, CW.
Yes, I completely agree.
So another show that I've been watching that you hadn't actually brought up yet is Designated Survivor. Now, a lot of people that I know that watch that show have not been happy with it. I, for one, am a huge Kiefer Sutherland fan, politics aside, and pretty much like everything that he does. And this has been, in no uncertain terms, not a disappointment at all. And the cliffhanger, again, they're like, oh, by the way, now that you've seen this and we haven't let you know what's happening, you don't get to find out what's going on until March. I'm like, really? You suck. You suck. So no spoilers for that one, because I know Dave hasn't watched it yet, and I don't know if he's ever going to start, but it's been a really good show. One, I'm curious to see what they're going to do in January, and then I'll let you have the mic back. Apparently, they are going to do a spinoff of 24 with a different lead character. So I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen with that. Of course, it makes sense that they'd have to use a different character, because Kiefer Sutherland's on another show. It's just funny, though, because, you know, this guy started as the Housing and Urban Development Secretary, and he started out kind of meek as a mouse. But the more and more this goes on, the more it starts to remind you a little bit of Jack Bauer. You see flashes of him here and there, and it's like, oh, he does have a spine after all. This is pretty cool. But yeah, so anyway, that has been that has been kind of a guilty pleasure of mine as well, because a lot of folks that I know are conservative get mad at me because I even watched that show, because they're like, it is so liberal. I'm like, I don't care, it's fun. That, and it has Maggie Q in it. I've always liked her too. So
is that the show that is the basically Kiefer Sutherland is the one guy who goes and during the State of the Union hides away somewhere, and then the like Capitol gets blown up, and it's like, hey, homeboy, you're the president. Good luck.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the show, and it's actually been really, really good. And actually, because I have some contacts in certain parts of the government, they're like, you'd be surprised how accurate some of that is, but some of it's really far off. And I'm like, yeah, I can kind of tell. But yeah, it's just been kind of a fun ride. It's one of those shows. It would be one of the ones that I would hate to watch on Netflix, because one of the things that it seems like everybody has learned how to do is make every single episode of a really good show a freaking cliffhanger. So I hate binge watching things on Netflix because it'll be like midnight and I'll have just finished a really good episode and I'm like, okay, so now I got to see what happens next. So I'm just going to watch one more because, there's no commercials, so be in bed before 1. Got to be up by 6. That's 5 hours of sleep. That's what I usually get, no problem. And then the next episode ends and I'm like, damn it, now I got to watch one more. I'm not going to be able to sleep. And then next thing I know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I got to be up in 3 hours and I'm like, I really should go to bed.
Yeah, I will have to check that out. One thing I can't think of. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I have, like, entertainment wise just completely avoided because of politics, like because of someone's stance on something. I've avoided musical acts when I found out that the main person in the act is a complete raging douchebag. Even if I like their music, that's something that I just can't deal with. But yeah, I hear, this is something, and not to get on the political tip, but I know we've talked about this a long, long time ago, because there are conservatives a lot of times who get really mad at folks in Hollywood and will just boycott stuff left and right. And then, liberals do the same thing. They won't eat at, Chick-fil-A, deny themselves those juicy chicken sandwiches, or won't eat at Jimmy John's. And those are some good sandwiches too, for political reasons. And, on the one hand, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And on the other hand, part of me is like, man, that's really silly. But I don't know. It cracks me up that people would get mad at you because you enjoy a television show, which is pure fiction, which is escapism. And even if it deals with stuff in Washington, D.C., it's something you enjoy. But are like, I can't believe you watch that because Kiefer Sutherland's one of them damn lib-labs. It's like, shut up. He's a good actor. Who cares?
And that's me to a point. There have been a couple of times that I've been like, you know what, I'm not going to pay full price to support a movie or something because of the fact that the actors have come out around the time that the movies come out and said something that I completely didn't agree with. But I still eventually will give in and either get it through Netflix, which is a subscription that I'm already paying for, which they get some of that back anyway, whether anybody wants to realize it or not, or I'll wait till it comes out on Redbox and I'll watch it on the cheap. One of the ones that I think has made me the most crazy, and we talked about that a little bit last week when you were on with me and Bryce, is this whole boycott Star Wars because they rewrote the entire ending to make Trump look like a moron. No, I promise you, they likely did not do that. I haven't seen it yet. You and I guess, are apparently going to try to go see it the Monday after Christmas. So I guess maybe I will come back with a different opinion on it. But so far, from everybody that I have heard talk about it, it's been a really good movie. Honestly, I've heard from people that were more impressed with this one than they were with Episode 7. Which honestly... there's at least one person that compared it to say it was as good as Empire. And I'm like, okay. Well, yeah,
you can believe that if you want.
And it might be. You never know.
And for the people who they changed the ending, like we talked about last week, no, I highly doubt they did that because of a number of different reasons, having to do with logistics, the reshooting, there wouldn't have time, and the fact that it's a story where they know the ending already. If anyone wonders, the rebels get the plans and people die. I know, I'm sorry, I just spoiled it for you, but that's how it ends. Okay, it is filling in gaps, for Pete's sake. That's what it is. And we've already established a totalitarian regime that has, elements of pick your favorite horrible leader that has any totalitarian leanings, and you can make the allegory that the emperor is like that person. So yeah, that's just silliness. People just need to settle down about stuff like crazy, like something. This is slightly off topic, but something we're actually going to talk about tomorrow on Around the Ring. There's this big controversy came up, because right now in WWE, they're on the show, on the Raw show, they've done a brand split. And on Raw, their tag team champions, cruiserweight champion, and women's champion are all black. And they took a picture together holding their titles. And when it was posted on Instagram and Twitter and everywhere, that there was a hashtag Black Excellence was used, and people lost their ever-loving minds all over the place. Black folks were pissed. White folks were pissed. Everyone was pissed. I'm looking at this. I'm like, well, they're black and they're excellent. What's the problem? I don't understand. And my co-host is actually an African American. And when we were talking about this throughout the week over Messenger, he said, "Yeah, you had that reaction because you're actually a decent human being." And I don't understand people. I mean, people are losing it. And okay, so if Hulk Hogan posted a picture of all of the white champions and had a hashtag White Excellence, would someone look at that funny? Probably, because he's done racist rants before. But we know that he has questionable thoughts on the black folk. But still, it's this whole, it's just so stupid. And then people do get mad, like, well, why can't we have a White History Month and all this and that? And it's like, you don't understand the connotations of, okay, you're part of the majority of society, and even if you were not directly involved, it was a majority that held down, and to some extent still does hold down, certain subgroups of society. And so when another group says, hey, this is who we are and we're proud of it, that is not an attack on the majority. It's just saying, hey, we like who we are. And so sorry, I got deep there.
You also went into the realm of politics, which we agreed we were not going to do today, but we need to take a break anyway.
Yeah, perfect timing.
We'll be right back, folks. Don't go away.
They say we offer simple answers to complex problems, but perhaps there is.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
They say we offer simple answers to complex problems, but perhaps there isn't.
All right, folks, we are back, and this is Finding Common Ground, and Dave broke our promise to not go into the realm of politics today, so we're shifting topics. So, for those
Not bad.
Yeah, you know, how is it that you're the one that took us into politics?
I don't know.
How does that happen? Remember how many times that we made this agreement and I would be the one that would break it? It's kind of fun to be sitting on the other side of this discussion for once. All right, so anyway, we have something really special going on this afternoon on KLRN Radio, and it's something that I want to make sure that everybody's aware of. Again, we've been promoting it pretty heavily for the last few days. In honor of Rogue One, we're actually doing the Great Debate. Which one is better, Star Wars or Star Trek? I myself am Switzerland. I love them both. I'm not choosing. You can't make me. But you do have the option to tune in, listen with us, and offer opinions either in the chat or by calling in. You can actually find the call-in numbers on the website. There's actually a link for special events. You can click on that. It gives you the time, the starts, the numbers you can call. If you do decide to call in and be part of the discussion, the one thing that we ask as a courtesy is that if you're going to call in, you either call in a few minutes before the start of the show if you want to be on in the beginning, or call us during a break, because that way we can kind of get everybody transitioned in. Now, what we're going to be talking about, of course, is there's this common misconception that people that like Star Wars and people that like Star Trek cannot coexist with one another, because there's just this whole different branding, and a lot of people that like Star Wars do not like Star Trek, and vice versa. I happen to be one of those folks that absolutely loves both of them for very, very different reasons, and that is, again, while I will be participating, I will not be choosing, because, again, I love them both equally. That makes me like the Mormon of sci-fi. I understand this, but it doesn't matter because I love them both.
Yeah, you know, and I'm with you there. I think this is a great idea. Sadly, I'm not going to be able to make it on the show. That's, and I know we wanted to talk about it anyway to let people know what's going on. But since I'm not going to be on there, I figured I'd give some of my 2 cents. To me, it's kind of a silly conversation. Just from the fact that they are two drastically different things. One is a true, actual science fiction show that's kind of a Western in space, but deals with a lot of socio-political issues and actually touches on a lot of really deep topics. A lot of times you don't even realize it. Especially the original series from the 60s, they touched on a lot of stuff. a lot of really groundbreaking stuff that people didn't notice because it was about aliens and spaceships. Whereas Star Wars is a straight up mythical fantasy. Yes, it is in space, and yes, they have a laser sword, but it has far more in common with the epics and myths of old than it does with actual science fiction. You're going to find more, Hercules and Zeus in Star Wars than you're going to find Isaac Asimov in Star Wars. Because it's just they behave very differently. To some extent, they appeal to different types of people. But I'm like you, man. I love them both, just for very, very different reasons. I think in a lot of ways, Star Trek kind of molded a lot of my philosophy. I think I can kind of accredit some of my worldview or some of my greatest influences to Star Trek and Mr. Rogers. So it's take that for however you want. But I loved the philosophy of Star Trek. I loved the whole idea that humanity at one point just finally went, oh, we're being idiots and need to stop acting like children, and got together and decided to work all their crap out and work for the greater good. And I loved that. I loved that idea. But I also understood that it took something to make humanity as a whole realize we're still acting like children and to stop it. And obviously we haven't gotten there yet. And with Star Wars, it's just this wonderful epic adventure of classic heroes and magic and all of that great stuff. So I'm going to be fascinated to see how Rogue One does, because I don't know if there are any Jedis in Rogue One. There's that one Asian character and I'm using that as a descriptive term because I don't know the dude's name, so don't give me crap. But he seems to be kind of Jedi-ish, but I don't know because obviously I haven't seen the movie. But yeah, that's kind of where I come from. I pitting them against each other, and both the stars from these things get these, especially the Star Trek, the old school Star Trek people get this question all the time, and they just have to roll their eyes every time George Takei or William Shatner gets this. They're probably like, really, this is the only thing you can think to ask me? But yeah.
I mean, the thing about it is ultimately one is specifically entertainment. And the other, actually, again, as you said, especially with the original show, they kind of managed to kind of take what started out as feeling a little bit like Lost in Space and turn it into political commentary. And that was one of the reasons why the original show, while it remained very popular to a large group of people, it didn't do well for the advertisers because they started realizing what they were doing. And they're like, hey, they're sneaking stuff in here that we really don't think we should be talking about, and we didn't notice it, but it's time for this to stop. And, and you can, I mean, that's honestly kind of the one of the first shows that really did that type of stuff. And you can say at this point whether it's gone too far or whatever the case may be, depending on your particular perspective. But it was one of the things that they did well, and it's one of the things that actually resonated with a lot of folks. And I, like you, I think mine might be a little bit different, but I honestly can kind of ascribe my whole philosophy with stuff back to not only Star Trek, but and Mr. Rogers, but also Sesame Street, because I mean those are the things that I watched most of the time. I mean, my parents were young when they had me; they were working all the time, so pretty much even if they were around, the one thing that we usually did was sit around and watch TV. With my mom, I would watch things like Sesame Street and other things when I was around that age, and then as I got a little bit older, my dad and I started watching Star Trek. It was one of the things that we bonded over, and that's one of the reasons why it's always been different for me. My dad is a Star Trek fanatic and absolutely does not like Star Wars, but I had lots of friends that I was growing up with that absolutely loved Star Wars. So it was something, I was able to bond with different groups of people based on mutual love of different things. And it's one of the things that has always made those things stay with me is the connections that I've formed along the way based on them. And again, there's no way for me to pick because they're two completely different things. And you're right. Star Wars in a lot of ways is more like I'm trying to think of the actual name they used to use, but I can't think of it right now off the top of my head. Well, actually, I guess what were those considered? Like Beowulf and the Iliad, what were they called? Epics?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, in a lot of ways, that's exactly what Star Wars was. You have the hero, the villain relationship. That's not really very well defined in Star Trek because it was episodic. And you also have in a lot of ways, with the epics, there was always not necessarily the I'm gonna be the hero and I understand that I'm the hero. You have somebody who rises up to become the hero because they don't have a choice. Star Wars really did a great job of kind of putting all of that in play and making it make sense. And then some of the plot twists were absolutely amazing. Remember when we were talking about being surprised at the end of Arrow because it's not something that usually happens? I was just as surprised at the end of Episode 5 when Vader shouted out, "I am your father." I was like, wait, what? I thought Luke's dad was dead. What is this crap? Obi-Wan, you said Luke's dad was dead. You lied. I remember actually I was I was young, but I actually yelled that out in the theater. Obi-Wan, you lied. And my dad's looking at me like, you're crazy. Shut up.
Yes, but you'll find many truths are dependent on your point of view.
Exactly. And that's something that I didn't really understand until much later in life. That's the problem that we have, is truth, when it really comes down to it, is actually a relative term, and nobody really wants to come to terms with the fact that truth to one person can mean absolutely the exact opposite to someone else that it does to them. And again, that's all dependent on your point of view. And again, that's something else that kind of started shaping my reality because, just because I view something as absolute truth doesn't mean somebody else is going to. That's like I have a very different view of Jesus than you do because I believe that he is who he said he was, and you're like, yeah, he was a great teacher. Other than that, hey, I'm a Buddhist, so leave me alone. And I get that. But again, it's because of and again, going back to Star Trek, the whole Vulcan philosophy of infinite diversity and infinite cultures. It's just one of those things where that's always kind of resonated with me because we can be different and still agree. We can even get along if we disagree, and that seems to be something that we're losing. But I'm starting to drift towards politics, so I'm going to shut up now.
You are. And there was something you just said that I wanted to react to, and I've already lost it. I hate it when that happens. There's crap. Keep talking. It'll come back to me. No, it won't. It's gone. Damn.
Train of thought, derail track 1.
Yeah.
Somebody get the hazmat crew out there. That thing's gonna that looks a little messy. All right. So anyway, so I mean, we at this point, I just hope you guys really tune in for this. It's actually going to be done by the host of Conversations in Science, Dr. Judy Moore, who also happens to be a regular advertiser on the show. She actually offers an editorial service, and actually, I think she's starting to move into the realm of publications. So when we get more information about that, we will definitely let you know, because I think she's actually thinking about starting her own publishing company, which will be exciting.
Yeah, that is very cool. Yeah, so if you can, guys, check that out. That'll be a lot of fun. And will it, if people miss it live, will it be in the archives, podcasted, available for folks to listen to?
Yes.
Excellent. So the same place you'd come to get this show, will you be able to get it there?
Yep. Best place to go, since I'm not sure which category it's going to be thrown under, is just Spreaker.com. Search for KLRN. It'll pull up everything that we've done. If you're not following us there yet, please do so. You'll get automatic alerts anytime shows are scheduled to go live, and that way you can tune in anytime you want. Now, for this show and a lot of others, there are also other ways to catch the podcast. That would include SoundCloud, Stitcher. I know every single show that KLRN puts out is on iTunes. We're actually working on getting a providers page, which would be phenomenal. Because apparently once you've put out enough content, iTunes says, hey, do you want a page where we can put all this stuff in the same place? We're like, sure, what do we got to do? So we're working on that now, because that would probably help raise our profile over there too. That's the other thing, because we were talking about that a little bit on break. there are so many podcasts now that it's almost impossible to claw your way out and get any notoriety anymore. Because we see all these people that started when it was early and nobody was really doing it yet. Now they've found ways to make their living off of doing this type of stuff. And everybody's like, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. And that's the problem, because now there's like 5 billion podcasts. And you're like, how do I find the one that I'm looking for? So it's just one of those things that it is what it is. The market is absolutely saturated, and that's why I was so pleased to start seeing a lot of the shows that we do here hitting really good numbers on a regular basis. Of course, it's the holiday season, so the numbers are back down again, but I don't expect it to stay that way for long, because we always dip through the Christmas break anyway, because everybody's so busy. They're like, I don't have time to listen right now, but I promise I'll listen later.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of times people will start doing podcasts, and it takes a while for a show to get its footing and for people to find it. I mean, it just, that's with anything though. It just takes a while, and you're right. It is a saturated market, and sometimes it is really hard to find shows that you like. I listen to primarily wrestling podcasts. There are a couple of. There's a music one that I listen to, but it only posts once a quarter, once every couple of months. There is a comic book related one that I listen to, but honestly, it's what it is. It's a YouTube show, and they push it to Stitcher and a bunch of podcast feeds. So it's technically not a podcast, really. I don't know. Definitions of that stuff is all getting all weird, because what is a podcast and what isn't a podcast? Is a YouTube show a podcast or is it not? And it hurts your head. But for those of you out there who are thinking about starting a podcast, or like, this will be fun, it'll be super easy, I'll make lots of money. First thing you got to know is, A, you're not going to make any money unless you have the utter super luck of like Jesus. Ain't going to happen. Does that mean you shouldn't do it? No. Do it. Enjoy it. Thing number 2, it is a lot of work. A lot more work than you're going to realize. Thing number 3, it's not cheap to do. So make sure that you realize that. And number 4, it's going to take you a lot of time. If you are willing to do all of that, it is fun. Don't expect a whole lot of responses. Don't expect people to be, tweeting you back immediately after 2 episodes. No, that's not going to happen. Just give it time, and eventually people will start paying attention to what you do, and hopefully it'll go well. I'm saying this as if I'm some kind of expert in this. I'm not. I'm saying this because I'm one of those guys that has been doing a show for a couple of years now that a handful of people listen to, all of which I'm very thankful for. But it is what it is, man. But you're right. There are people that have been doing it for a long time, and they're the ones who are well established, who make it look easy, who are making some money doing it, and that's fantastic. But then there are shows that have been doing it for a long time that can't get an advertiser to save their lives. There are tons of shows that have been around for a long time that have set up like Patreon accounts for people to donate, and they'll have like, if you donate X number of dollars a month, you get access to extra content and yada yada. That happens a lot on shows. But those are shows that are well established, have thousands upon thousands of listeners every week, and still can't get regular advertising. So have fun with it. Don't expect to become a millionaire unless you're beautiful and can get on YouTube and get by in your looks. Then you know what? Sell out. Go for it. Do what you got to do.
And that's the whole thing with it. And that's, the reason I bring this up is because we have a mutual friend who can't seem to decide what he wants to do, who shall remain nameless for those who don't know who we're talking about. But he has officially pushed the buttons of my business partner once again, because he had this great idea of, hey, we're going to do this show and it's going to be awesome. And then he did one episode. Nobody listened. Now he's like, I want to go back and do the other one that I was doing. Can I have one of your time slots? And she's like, no.
Ouch.
Well, yeah, because he specifically said, hey, is anything on Wednesday at this time? And she's like, well, I am. And he's like, well, do you mind if I have that one? And she's like, you went through all this with me. You put together one episode, and then you dumped it. And now you want to go back to doing the other one, and you want one of my time slots. No, we have plenty of other open space, and then I haven't heard anything else since then. So, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I love the guy to death, but you got to pick something and stick with it. I mean, look at how long I've been doing this to even get to the point where I am now. I mean, over the last few months, things have finally really started to take off. I mean, I have episodes that have been listened to over 2,000 times. I have some episodes that have been listened to about 400 times. So it's just, one of those things where you go back and you're like, okay, so now that it's starting to take off, what was it that I was talking about that seemed to resonate with people? And start trying to pattern things a little bit more after that so you can start duplicating the numbers. And we've done a lot of that here. And it's been a lot of trial and error. And there's been a lot of days when I was like, you know what, I'm just done. This is taking a lot of out-of-pocket expense. I keep trying these different ways to try to take it to the next level, and it only works for a while, and then it stalls out. But it's just one of those things where if you like it, and you enjoy doing it, and you're doing it because you want to try to get a message out, or it's something that you really enjoy, maybe you're talking about one of your favorite hobbies, maybe nobody else is really talking about it, or if it's even like me, where you live, eat, sleep, and breathe politics, and you don't think anybody else is really talking about some of the same things in the same way that you are. Don't do it in the hopes that within 6 months you're going to be a millionaire. Now, unlike Dave, I will not tell you that you will never make money, because I do make routine money off of this stuff. It's not enough for me to quit my day job and say, okay, I'm doing full-time radio, but it is enough for me to pay a bill once in a while and go, hey, I still have some money left over. And now, to get to that point, I am literally working my tail end off. Dave was not kidding. This is something that takes a lot of time, a lot of work, and a lot of patience. For those of you that may not understand the type of work I'm talking about, think about it like college, because everybody gets excited when they first go to college because it's like, wait, you mean I only have to be in class for 2 hours a week and then I get to do whatever I want with the rest of the time? Yes, you do, but not if you want to succeed, because there's a reason that classes are equated to credit hours, because for every hour you're in class, they expect you to spend the rest of the credit hour time frame in there having to do research or homework to keep up in the class. Doing a radio show is a lot the same way. So for every hour that you're going to be on the air, anticipate at least 2 additional hours of prep work, and that's only if you want to be mediocre. Until you get to the point where you've got it down to a science and you've done it enough where you can be like, oh, I want this audio, I want that audio, and it takes you like 20 seconds to rip it. When you're first learning how to do it, it's going to take time, it's going to take effort, and you can't keep jumping from genre to genre, show to show. Establish one, get it going, and then if you want to do something else, do it in tandem. That's like me. Right now I do, between Finding Common Ground, America Off the Rails, The Jen and Rick Show, Robinson and Wright, I do about 13 hours of radio a week between those shows. But they're all a little bit different because I have co-hosts with them, so it brings different flavors. And it's one of those things where each show has different people that listen, so it's kind of worked as a cross-promotion thing. And I think that's one of the reasons why the numbers have started to go up across all of them, because we had people that were listening to one show that didn't know about the other. We had people that were listening to Off the Rails that didn't know I did anything else. We had people that were listening to Jen and Rick that didn't know about the rest of them. So it's a way to start consolidating, folks. And then you need to figure out which show you enjoy the most and start putting a lot of your effort into that one. And that's exactly what I've done here. I still enjoy being able to talk on my own, because after a while, as much as I love having co-hosts, there are times when I'm like, okay, there's something I really, really, really want to say, but you've just cut me off, so now I can't. And that's one of the reasons why Off the Rails originally started, because as much as I love Dave, back when we were doing this together, when we were doing like 3 episodes of Finding Common Ground a week, I had to have a space to vent on Saturday because some of the things that he was saying made my head want to explode. And I know I can say this without offending him, because a lot of the things that I used to say made him feel exactly the same way. So, but that is what it is.
Yes, indeed.
He actually still gives me crap. He's like, I usually listen for as long as I can, and then you say something crazy and I have to turn it off before I start throwing things at you. I'm like, okay, it is what it is.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong, folks.
So, and the reason I bring all this up, and I went ahead and went on with this because we usually don't talk shop on the shows, but this isn't technically talking shop, because for those of you that are thinking about starting a podcast, we're actually about to start working on putting out a publication that is going to guide you through a lot of the processes that I've gone through to get to this point. Now, I won't be the one writing it, but I'll be one of the ones contributing to it because I don't have time to sit down and do it all. I'm not sure when it's going to come out, but when it does, it actually will probably be something that we'll promote here, especially for folks that are actually looking at this as a serious way to fill a niche or do something that they love to do and see if maybe they can find a way to make it turn a corner. I'm hoping to save you guys some time because in between Facebook, writing for publications, and the radio shows, I have been doing this for 9 years to get to where I am now. So I'm hoping that maybe by going through some of the things and letting you see behind the scenes some of the frustrations and everything else, that maybe we can maybe find a way to get you to the point where you're at least where I am, where you're not making a fortune, but you're making enough to say, hey, at least I can pay a bill once in a while and it's fun. But we have officially run out of time. Not that it really matters because Bryce is not going to be on with us today. As a reminder, there will be no Finding Common Ground, at least not a live broadcast, next week because it's Christmas Eve and I'm going to take some time off. And at this point, I'm going to give Dave back the microphone to remind folks where it is that they can hang out with him when he's not on the radio listening to me blabber on.
Yeah. So, got a few things. Tomorrow is Sunday, so we're doing the Around the Ring podcast, which you can find here, the same place you're listening to this if you're on our Spreaker channel. And otherwise, it is you can follow the show on Facebook and Twitter at Around the Ring OK. Our website is aroundtheringok.wordpress.com. And we've got a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Around the Ring OK. One cool thing we started doing is after pay-per-views, and God almighty, there are too many of those damn things, but after payper-views, the next day we were doing pay-per-view recap review shows exclusive to the YouTube channel. Our first one was earlier this month for the Tables, Ladders, and Chairs pay-per-view that WWE did, and we will be doing one tomorrow morning because there is, yes, another pay-per-view tonight, by God. They're killing us here, man. It's like, we love this stuff, but Jesus, you're making us tired. So we got 2 shows coming up in the next 2 days there. If you want to hear my musings on music, it is that time of year. My top 30 records of 2016 lists have been published. Lots of great music out there. For if you're one of those old dodgy folks that's like, there's no good music anymore. No, you're wrong. There's tons of good music. You're just not looking in the right places. So if you want a great place to start, check out the website, OklahomaLefty.com. You can also follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Oklahoma Lefty is the handle there. And thank you, Rick, for having me on. I always enjoy it.
Yeah, no, and as far as Dave's good music, I guess that depends on taste. I do like some of the stuff you listen to, but some of it is kind of nutso. I'm just saying. Although you did turn me on to Frank Turner, so thank you.
You are quite welcome.
All right, so on that note, folks, we are out of here. Again, there will be no Opinion Nation this week. Stay tuned for Cooper Talk here in just a little bit. And then, of course, there may or may not be a Saturday Slowdown. I haven't touched base with Jess to find out if she's doing one of those. But regardless, make sure you tune in today at 4 Eastern for the great debate. Which is better, Star Wars or Star Trek? And again, I'm Switzerland. Don't make me pick because I can't do it. Have a great rest of your weekend, folks. Take care. God bless.
They say we offer simple answers to complex problems. But perhaps there is a